The Eastern European nation of Belarus lies nestled between Russia to the east, Poland to the west, Ukraine to the south and Lithuania to the north. From 1939 until December 1991, Belarus was a republic within the Soviet Union, after being annexed by Soviet military forces early in World War II. Its name was the Belarusian Soviet Socialist Republic. When the Soviet Union dissolved in late 1991, Belarus became an independent republic. Its capital and largest city is Minsk, which also became the administrative center of the Commonwealth of Independent States in 1991. Area 80,153 square miles, 207,595 square kilometers. Population, 2020 est. 9,407,000. Through the centuries, Belarus has been claimed by Russia and Poland, and many invading forces have marched across it. The country is chiefly a farming region but has been increasingly industrialized since World War II. Land and people. Belarus forms part of the Great East European Plain, which stretches from Poland to the Ural Mountains. Most of the region is flat, but a chain of low hills runs across the center of Belarus from southeast to northwest. Much of the lowland area is swampy. Forests cover about 1/4 of the land. Belarus has generally fertile soil for farming. Summers in Belarus are cool and the winters mild with frequent thaws. The rainfall, though more than adequate for farming, occurs mainly during the summer and often causes problems with the harvest. The predominant ethnic group of the republic is Belarusian, also known as White Russian. They are a Slavic people, closely related in culture and language to the Russians and Ukrainians. Many Belarusians were at one time under Polish rule, but they resisted conversion to Roman Catholicism and remained members of the Russian Orthodox Church. Since the late 19th century, the Belarusian language has been recognized as different from Russian, and a modern Belarusian literature has appeared. A rich folk culture can be seen in their distinctive regional costumes, cooking, and decorative arts. Economy. Belarus ranks as a flourishing agricultural region despite its cool climate and the areas of swampy or sandy soil. Livestock production, especially cattle and hogs, and dairy production are based in areas with good pastures and large amounts of land planted with fodder crops such as hay. The main commodity crops grown for food are rye, oats, potatoes, and sugar beets. Belarus lacks major deposits of industrial raw materials. It has, however, huge deposits of peat. The most useful mineral deposit is potash, which goes into the production of potassium fertilizer. The southern part of the republic produces some petroleum, but most of Belarus petroleum is imported by pipeline from the east. Two large refineries process this oil. Chemical plants operate near the potash deposits and the oil refineries. There are major truck and tractor plants, and tractors, motor vehicles, and farm products are exported to other countries. Other economic activities include lumbering and woodworking. Minsk, the capital, produces about 1/3 of the republic's industrial output. Several railroad lines cross Belarus, and Minsk is linked by air with many cities in the western part of Russia. History and government. For centuries the area that is now Belarus was divided between Russia and Poland. Because it lay on a major east-west invasion route, it suffered great destruction at various times, including during World War II. After annexation by the Soviet Union, the present boundaries were set. Belarus had its own government and Communist Party, which were directed by the Soviet government in Moscow until 1990. Then, with the Soviet Union already showing signs of coming apart, Belarus declared its sovereignty. In September 1991, Belarus took its present name and joined 9 other republics and Mikhail Gorbachev in an accord to establish a transitional government and transfer power to the republics from the central government. This agreement came to nothing. Belarus instead became part of the Commonwealth of Independent States. In April 1996, Russia and Belarus signed a treaty joining the two nations in a political and economic union known as the Community of Sovereign Republics. In November of that year, Belarus voters overwhelmingly approved constitutional revisions that extended the powers of the president at the expense of the democratically elected parliament. Ignoring protests from Western leaders, President Alexander Lukashenko pushed ahead with a national referendum that put the question of Belarus' fate to a popular vote. Voters were asked to choose between two proposed plans for restructuring Belarus' constitution, one offered by Lukashenko and one supported by parliament. Lukashenko, who had been accused by his critics of seeking to establish a Soviet-style dictatorship in the country, received an overwhelming 70.5% of the votes for his proposed constitutional amendments, which would allow the president to dissolve parliament and replace it with a new legislative body. Despite his insistence prior to the election that he would not do so, Lukashenko officially dissolved the parliament and called for the creation of a new bicameral legislative branch with reduced power.